All right, guys, welcome back. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to the channel, guys. Long time no see. It's been a minute. I haven't put out a video in a really long time.
Wow.
If you haven't, let's see. Ed doesn't subscribe to the channel, which is totally fine. If you're watching this, you should subscribe. But Ed, welcome to the channel. Ed is an incredible VFX artist, videographer, editor, wizard. But we're here. It's his first Coachella. Today we're shooting Coachella. It's a Coachella vlog. Coachella behind the scenes vlog. We're here with Aperol Spritz. Great group of people. We're just walking onto the site. It's a beautiful day, Friday, April 12th. Edward, anything you want to let the kids know? What can they expect?
Watching the channel. That's how I got good. If you follow everything he says, you'll become rich.
There it is. Woo! Perfect. Words to live by right there.
Here we go.
But yeah, we're going to show you the behind the scenes of this weekend. We're just getting here, so we're going to go over to the booth now and show you what's up, show you the vibes. All right, let's go. All right, guys. We made it in successfully. So we're just walking the grounds right now. It's like 11:30. At noon, we're doing a walkthrough. But yeah, we're mainly just shooting the Aperol Spritz activation area within the festival. We're going to do a recap for them today and tomorrow. And we're editing the video. Jack is also shooting it, but he's shooting like the other VIP area. So yeah, this is what it's like to be a videographer at a music festival. But yeah, it's pretty chill. Usually we just come in a little early, set up our gear, see what we have to shoot, get kind of like a, before this we've already been like talking about it like in the weeks leading up to it, like everything that we're doing. But yeah, today all that comes to fruition, so hopefully get to see a little bit of the music, but obviously not the priority this weekend, unfortunately. But yeah, no, it still should be fun, good group of people, really looking forward to it. All right, guys, so we're back from Coachella. I'm here joined with my good friend, Jack. Jack, thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thanks so much for joining me. So we're super excited. We finished Coachella a couple weeks ago. This is 2 weeks after we were on this project together. Videos came out incredible. 2 out of the 3 that we made have gone up. I think the 3rd one might be coming out tomorrow, but it'll be out by the time that you all see this. We wanted to take this time to sort of walk you through what it's like being on a project like this with a big brand such as Aperol Spritz, how one goes about getting a client like this, being on a project, how it goes from pre-production to the final product that you see on Instagram. But before we get into everything, we're gonna play for you 2 of the videos that were posted on Instagram on the Aperol USA accounts. So yeah, enjoy. All right, so we're back. Hope you enjoyed those videos. We wanted to get right into it and break down how this all came to life. First of all, Jack, he was the main videographer, the lead on this project. It was his client. He brought it all together. He's an incredible videographer, editor, photographer. I'm gonna link all his social accounts in the description below, so make sure you go check them out. So Jack, please tell the people back at home if they're looking to become a full-time freelance videographer, a photographer, or just a freelance individual who works with big brands such as Aperol. Who approached you with it first? Take us from, what pre-production was like.
Sure. So I worked with Aperol a few times, and they reached out to me, or the agency that does the activations for Aperol reached out to me probably 5-6 months in advance of Coachella, just to kind of start planning out logistics and figuring out like what's this going to look like, what are we going to need team-wise, what do deliverables look like. Because I mean, for something like Coachella, one of the biggest festivals in the world, I'm pretty sure, it takes a lot of logistics, a lot of planning. The agencies that hire us to come out there, they have to figure out housing, accommodations. They got to figure out, meals, transportation, on top of building the actual activation and all the logistics that go into that, because Coachella is pretty strict as far as like once you're on the ground and once you're shooting and the things you can and can't do.
5-6 months out, you start, it's like the initial rumblings, right? So you brought on myself to be the other videographer, and then you also brought Edward, who you guys met earlier in the video, to be the main VFX artist and editor on these. So
we love Edward.
Love Edward, great guy. If whoever's
Slade.
watching this, please hire him. What does that look like? All right, you're 5-6 months out. How do you go about deciding, all right, I need to assemble a team, and like, how does the client tell you, like, all right, these are the videos that we're gonna need when we're on site? How did those conversations kind of come about?
Sure. So when you're going through the deliverables lists, for something like, it doesn't even have to be Coachella. With any client that you have or any project that you're working on where you have X number of deliverables that need to be delivered in X time frame, there's only so much that one person can do. So for this event, for Coachella and for Aperol and the content that they needed, it was very clear that we had to build out a team for this. And not a huge team, but 2 shooters and an editor, as opposed to a lot of the shoots that I've done for them before. It was just me kind of running and shooting and editing by myself, which has its perks and it's not perks, but it's like if you want to lose sleep, like that's one thing.
Yeah.
You and Edward were the first people that came to mind. And also another thing that I think is important when you have the opportunity to create your own, or to staff your own project, and when the client comes to you and you're sort of the lead, the video lead, the DP, however you want to frame it. It's really about your network, and it's about who you know. It's about having people that you've worked with before and that you trust. And I mean, everyone that's watching this video, like, you obviously follow this guy's work. He's an incredible videographer. He's super talented, and I'm lucky to know him. And so I actually was still living in New York at the time when this project came to me. I hadn't even moved to LA yet. So I was like, all right, I know I'm going to be in LA by the time that this happens. And I was like, Saul's like numero uno, like, let's go. So I hit him up. I hit up him, and I hit up Edward, who is our editor and VFX artist. And I was like, hey guys, like, this is something that I think is going to happen. Like, if you could just hold these dates for me, that would be great. I'll circle back with more details as they become clear, as the conversations happen with the client. But you really just got to reach out and just like put a hold on your team first and foremost, and make sure they're available. Then it's a lot of just like planning logistics and staying on top of it. After that, it's a long process. And I mean, five months out is probably the longest headway that I've had for planning a project.
I think for anyone starting out, and it's like, all right, one day I want to shoot Coachella, or one day I want to shoot a festival, or one day I want to shoot for a brand, like, and you're working with a team too, like, I think it's important, like you said, like, you need someone that you ideally have worked with before or like trust. But at the same time, I think it's super important to hire people or work with people that you can like have fun with, because like we're literally about to spend 3 days together, like sharing a room, sharing an Airbnb.
100%.
Like we're in 100-degree heat. Like you can get irritable.
Sweaty together. We're gonna be smelly together.
Yeah. So it's like you have to work with people. It's like you're gonna have a good time with, outside of like just the work element to it. You know what I mean? So I think that's also super important. But you also want people that can get the job done right. You know what I mean? In order to shoot Coachella, there's a few ways that I think I can think of. Maybe Jack, you can fill in some holes. But obviously the route that we took, we were hired by an agency that was working with a brand who had an activation at Coachella. So there's like every brand is working with some sort of agency to help create these like activation booth pop-ups, whatever, to like help build them out, and then hire the creative team that's going to hire it. So that's one way that I can think of. The second way that I can think of is you're working for the actual promoter of Coachella, which is Golden Boys AEG. They have their own in-house creatives, videographers, photographers, people who are creating content for the Coachella Instagram account. I haven't shot Coachella that way, but I've shot Stagecoach, which is another festival that takes place at the same location, through the organizers, and it's great. It's a lot of work. The organization, they put you to work. You have to create a lot of videos in real time.
It's a hustle.
It's a hustle for sure. So that's the second way that I can think of. And then the third way, maybe the final way that I can think of, is you're working directly with an artist. who can get you a pass and you're shooting their set. Getting that contact, getting that gig is probably even harder. Like you either have to go through like their label, maybe their manager, maybe you have a relationship with the artist somehow already directly and they bring you out.
Either way, you probably know somebody. It kind of goes back to the point you were saying about how it's important to work with people that you can also be friends with, because you're going to meet a lot of people in this industry, but you're not going to want to be friends with all of them either. Yeah. So when it comes down to like these people in your network, and some are going to be more transactional relationships for sure. 100%. But you also want to make sure that like through repetition, you're going to find people that like you actually want to hang out with. It's like at the end of the day, like you said, we're going to spend 3 days together, like shooting this thing. Like we got to be able to hang and just like have a good time, and it can't just be like stone cold business the whole time.
Exactly. Circling back to the actual video. So if we take the first one that they posted on their feed, so it was the second video deliverable, kind of walk us through that, like that video itself, and like how what was the direction for that one? How did you delegate, what I was going to shoot, what you were going to capture, how Edward was going to go about editing, and then kind of sort of walk us through the timeline of like shooting, editing, delivering the final product.
So for video 2, spent a lot of time with the client kind of going through what the schedule was going to look like. There's a run of show each day. So we get on site around like noonish, and like doors open at 1. Pretty much there's like a 5-hour window from like 2 to 7 p.m. where we have the chaperone who we will go out with and shoot content out and about outside of the activation. I kind of took it upon myself to run out with them, and we had hired models. So we had 5 models that we hired this year to come and shoot for Aperol specifically. So we ran around the festival with them, and I was shooting like very curated moments with them and our photographer Lex, who is awesome. You should check out Lex's work also.
Yeah, shout out Lex. Yeah, because she kind of was the one that put together, hired the models, maybe brought the scouted.
Lex did all of like the model vetting.
Right.
She
styled them.
She spent all the time like making sure that they were gonna look just right. Got those approved with the client, with the agency as well.
So we kind of
very easy for us.
Yeah, we kind of just showed up and hit record almost in a way. No, that's more than that. But yeah, she really put in the groundwork when it comes to like hiring the talent that helped these videos like have a lot more energy to them.
We had the models, and I kind of ran around and shot them during the day with our chaperone. Saul stayed back, and you were kind of covering the GA area and just sort of holding down the fort, making sure we didn't miss any big moments, getting some fun content. I mean, we strapped up the FX3 with the rig for the POV shot.
That's fire. I think we have some sort of BTS video of that, right? Like we must somewhere.
I've got a clip, yeah.
Well, we'll try to add it here, but we put a little small rig arm to the bottom of the FX3 and then kind of just clipped Aperol Spritz glass.
Yeah, so it kind of is like you're following the spritz through the activation and like POV of like all the cheers moments. So that was fun. So those are some things that like we shot back at in the GA section and also out in the field as well. And then Edward, who is our editor, he's already had a whole day of reviewing footage from Friday. So this is now Saturday, and this Saturday video that we're shooting is going up on Sunday. So complicated.
Hey, this is real life though. This is real life. These are things you have to keep track of. Talk with the client in pre-production, make sure you're all on the same cadence. So it is complicated though, and you try to write it all down, but sometimes you just keep it up here. You know what I mean?
Edward's back in the trailer, whipping up this amazing video. He's going through all the footage. He's making the selections, making his string outs, doing the his color correction, the VFX, all that in real time. We're kind of periodically coming back. I would say like maybe every hour or so, dumping cards with him. It's tough with just one editor because we don't want to overwhelm Edward. Yeah. Edward's got he's got a hard job.
Yeah, he's a lot on his plate.
Even though he gets to be out of the sun and he's sitting editing in the trailer, it's not all glamorous.
No, not at all. He's sitting in a cargo container with like some AC. Just like going through footage, trying to come up with some ideas, VFX, hyperlapses, all the jazz.
And some of the things that he puts in, like they don't always make into the edit. It really depends on the client and what the brand's guidelines are, what they're into, what they're not into. I've had plenty of videos where you spend a lot of time creating an asset, and you send them the first cut, and they're like, hey, like that that really amazing, like super crazy VFX thing at the very beginning. Like,
Doesn't work.
We got to take that out.
Yeah.
And it kind of just like is a little bit of a knife to the chest, because
Especially when someone stays up sometimes overnight editing.
sometimes people gotta stay up overnight doing these things.
Stays up 5 hours or spends 5 hours on one little effect, and then it just
This is gone.
all that work, planning, coordination for a 30-second video that goes on Instagram that people will probably forget after like a week or so. Or even a day. It's wild, like all, but it's part of the industry. It's part of the like niche that we operate in. I think being videographers, photographers for social media, like you're working with these brands, creating content that lives on their feed, on their Instagram stories sometimes, and that's all the light of day that they see. And but for the brand, the return on investment for them, it's like, hey, we were at the biggest music festival in the world. We had this amazing activation experience for people to come in and enjoy, and this is kind of like what it looks like. And that you can trickle, like that goes to the head of marketing, and that can go to like the CMO, sometimes the CEO of the company, just to be like,
exactly,
you need to keep investing money into these experiences, and this is why, because like it just brings awareness and attention, and we're kind of the people that help bring it to life.
We're bringing it to life.
Yeah.
We're kind of the proof that's like, like this happened.
Yeah.
And we're the ones that are showing them that.
Yeah. So it's like, it's wild, like people just see like the final video on Instagram, but it's like there's so many levels and layers to it, and like so many people that have to see it and approve it. And like,
oh my God.
give notes.
We can get into that too.
This would be like a 2-3 hour long video, know, but we ultimately did 3 videos that are going out on social. It was just a great experience, a great time being at this festival, kind of just never felt overworked. I think we worked really great together. We had some great models, a great team. This is just what we do. This is work. And I think like if you are watching this in Shreveport and really do want to do this as a career path, just like know that there's a lot of ways to go about it, and there's also like work for everyone. I
was a PA on ESPN 30 for 30, and the guy who brought me on, the director, I'll never forget this piece of advice he gave me. I was like, I think the project was ending, and I was like going on to my next gig, and I was asking for advice, and he was like, yeah, I got one. So don't be an ass.
Gotcha.
So don't be an ass. And I've done my best to not be an ass. I think it's just about being easy to work with. Being around, surrounding yourself with good people, and putting the work in, and the rest should fall into place.
Absolutely incredible. Well, that was it. Thank you so much for watching. We appreciate you. Again, Jack's socials will be in the description below. Please reach out with literally any questions, anything, wherever you are in your journey. We're more than happy to provide some guidance as best as we can. But yeah, thank you so much again for watching. We'll see you next week, and stay safe out there. Peace. Day 2, baby. Let's get it. Let's go.
Let's get it, baby.
Let's go.
Let's go. What's up, baby?
Where are we at? What are we doing?
We're in Coachella right now. Let's get a little golf.
I might just hit it through. That's on my element. I like dark skins, love a melanin. Talk, pushing the talk. When I'm stepping in, 30 bottles of the same time, sentiment.